Okay, for homework 9, 10, due on Monday, I am going to grade this. So those of you doing this, good job. I'm going to have you turn this in for a grade. I want you to write down these sequence problems and the 3 words to show me that you listen. So the first one here is going to be 3, 12, 48. I want you to see that when you have these sequences, this first one is the function at the first term, or when I plug in 1 for x. This is the function when I plug in 2 for x. This is the function when I plug in 3 for x. You need to know the basic parts of a sequence, how to find a couple using what's called the recursive pattern. You need to be able to go backwards to find the 0 term. I want you to see that for this one, I am timesing by 4, multiplying by 4 to the right. If I want to find those other numbers right there, all I have to do is take that 48, the term before the one I'm trying to find, and times 4. That will give me 192. Take that times 4, and that'll give me 768. These graphs always start off kind of smooth and then shoot up. They grow exponentially. They are never straight line graphs. All right, if I'm going to the left, the opposite of timesing by 4 is dividing by 4. But we're not going to show dividing by 4 anymore. We're going to show dividing by 4 is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal of 4, which is 1/4. So I take this 3 and I times it by 1/4, or I take that 3 and divide it by 4, or if I take that 3 and times it by 1/4 or divide it by 4, multiplying straight across, that gives you the 0 term of 3/4. Yes, it is a fraction. The recursive formula, f of x. First word is yellow, yellow. Recursive for these geometrics is the same, but it's timesing that number right there. If I want to put this into play, let me show you. If I put this into play using the recursive function, maybe to prove how I get that 5th term, let's do that. To find the 5th term, I'm going to take f of 5 minus 1. That gives me f of 5 equals the function at the 4th term. I'm going to look and see what the function is at the 4th term. Right here, 192. That number is going to replace that f of 4 because the 4th term, the real number is 192. And if I take that and times that by 4, my pen will let me write. That will give me the 5th term, which is 768. If I want to use explicit, remember this is recursive, if I want to use explicit to jump ahead or to prove that the 5th term is 768, I could use 2 of them. I could use f of x equals that 3/4 term, that 0 term, times that common ratio number, which is 4, raised to the x power. If I want to do the 0 term not and move over to the 1st term, which is that 3 right there, I could do 3 times that same 4, but I have to make sure I shave off a number when I plug in that x minus 1. You need to know both those forms. I want you to get in the habit of being able to use both to get these answers. So if I'm trying to find the 5th term here, I'm going to plug in that 5 right here in the exponent spot. That's 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, 4 to the 5th power. do that in my calculator. 4 to the 5th power is 1024. So that gives me the 5th term. I still have 3/4 there, but this gives me 1024. I could put that over 1 times straight across like you were taught to, times that 3 times 1024 gives me 3072, and divide that by 4 straight across gives me the 5th term is 768. I could also use the first term. Let me show you, get that same answer. It lets me shrink it down. There it goes. All right, if I use the other one instead, it will look like this. F of 5 equals 3 times 4 to the 5 minus 1 power. Make sure you write that. Gives me f to the 5th term, gives me 3. Leave that 3 alone. Raise 4 to the 4th power. 4 to the 4th power gives me 256. So that says the 5th term comes from me multiplying 3 times 256. And if I do that right, that will give me the same 768 answer. All right, another one. Second word is blue. Blue. All right, this is going to be 4. All right, again, this is the first term. This is the second term. This is the third term. I am timesing by 3. That is my common ratio R. I could take that 3 to continue this pattern. Just take that 36 times 3. That will give me the next term in this sequence, which is 108. If I took that times 3, that will give me the 5th term, which is 324. I could use that to go backwards and times by the reciprocal of 3, which is 1/3. So remember that 4 divided by 3, or that 4 times 1/3 gives me 4/3 for the 0 term. I want you to be able to write and use recursive. Here's the recursive function in its generic form, just timesing a 3. Here's me putting it into use. So I'm going to take that f of, let's say the 5th one here. F of 5 minus 1 times 3. I'm going to find the 5th term by finding the value of the 1 before it, the value of the 4th, times that by 3. I'm going to take that f of 4 out of there and replace it with the actual number that it is, which is 108. And times that by 3, and that gives me the 5th term, 108 times 3. My pen lets me write. F of 5 equals 324 when I times 108 times 3. Matches this number right here. Explicit, here I go. Explicit, I could either use that 0 term, 4/3, times R to the x power, or I could use f of x equals the first term in that sequence, 4 times 3 to the x minus 1 power. I'm going to have you be able to plug in and do both. I'm going to do the 5th term again, just to prove to you that they'll get the 324 answer out of that. So here I go. First one, plug in 320, or plug in this 5 right in here to prove I get 324. So here I go. I got f of 5, 4/3 times 3 to the 5th. 3 to the 5th power, 3 times itself 5 times. gives me 243. I still have that f of 5. I still have the fraction 4/3. Remember, at this point, you could cross cancel or you could just go straight across. 4 times 243 divided by 3. So 4 times 243 gives me 972. And when I divide that by 3, it gives me the 324 answer that I got earlier. If I use the first term 1 instead, it will give me the same answer. I got 4 times 3 to the 5 minus 1 power gives me f of 5 is 4 times 3 to the 4th. 3 raised to the 4th power is 81, so this becomes 4 times 81, and then that 4 times 81, that gives me the 324 answer. All right, hopefully this helps a little bit. We will be practicing. The third word is puppy. Puppy. Good luck. See you next week.